Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Chris. Today, I'll be talking about something a little random, actually. It only just appeared in my head, and it's because I didn't know what to talk about on this episode. I don't plan these, as you know, and so I don't really have any material to go by. It's just whatever happens to me, I share. And while my coffee was brewing, I went on Reddit, which I don't do a lot. I actually only really visit it to do specific things, to find updates on some things, or if I'm looking for a movie or something like that. And recently I started, I don't actually participate in the subreddit because I don't use my Reddit account. I haven't used my Reddit account in over a year now. But I had the tab open for ADH Dinos, which is this really cute comic about dinosaurs with, well, a dinosaur at least, with ADHD. And it's very relatable at times, and I especially enjoy the ones, if you do go read them, I especially enjoy the ones with the brain, because I feel like the brain is just a personification of me sometimes. It's very nice the way this person manages to communicate these things. Definitely worth checking out, whether you have ADHD or not. This guy, though, or girl, I don't actually know the gender of the person. So the person who makes this comic, they apparently posted about ADHD-related podcasts, and that got me thinking a lot about my podcast, because a part of me wants to go in there and tell them that, hey, I don't want to promote myself too much or anything, but I actually do this podcast. And so if anyone wants to listen to it, that would be great. But at the same time, I feel like they're asking about ADHD related podcasts in the sense that it should be about the ADHD, whereas this whole thing isn't about the ADHD, it's more so about life with ADHD. Which is why it's a daily podcast. It's why I don't edit it. It's the reason for all of these things. It's that in combination, it is the fact that I can't handle having to edit all of this. Like if I had to, it would be too big a task and I just wouldn't be able to do it. And the second part is that not editing allows the real me to shine. Well, I wanted to say shine, but maybe more like show. It allows the real me to go out there and be presented to the world. And the truth is, the real me is far from perfect. The real me is confused, says too often, doesn't know what to talk about, even though he has a damn podcast. There are so many flaws to this project. Coffee with Chris and Adolas itself is in essence flawed because it was designed from a flawed perspective. It's not meant to be a podcast where people can come in and gain all kinds of information about ADHD. And so I feel like it's more of a log. It's my logbook. But even then, it's not like I document what I do throughout the day. So I'm not even sure what to call this whole thing. I call it a podcast, but is it really? What defines a podcast? I haven't actually looked that up. Maybe I should. And the question to me is, should I mention myself there? Or should I just remain hidden? I'm not really sure what to do because, like I said, a part of me kind of wants to go in there and say, hey, I've got this. And just be honest about it. Tell them it's not really a podcast about ADHD. It's more so a podcast with ADHD. If you can say it like that. I actually feel like that's a pretty good definition of it. This is a podcast not about, but with ADHD. And I'm in a debate with myself about it, because I'm also a little scared. If you've listened to any of these episodes, you know that I'm not afraid to admit that I get scared of things. I get uncertain. I suffer from insecurity a lot. And right now, one of the insecurities that I'm feeling is the fear of rejection. What if I post a comment and it gets downloaded? Or even worse, someone actually listens and they choose to comment that it's bad, well, they're technically free to do so, and I can't avoid that. I can't protect myself from the world. If I want to go out there and get some subscribers and stuff, then I need to be prepared for people to not like it. Then at the same time, isn't there something, like, I often experience a sense of community with people with ADHD. So it might actually be my quote unquote big break. And by that, I mean I might get like 2 subscribers. I don't really know. I don't know. And it's a difficult situation to be in, because this isn't a chance that I'll get again anytime soon. So should I do it? Should I just stick to the shadows? And this is the part where I really wish that I had an audience, because then I could ask the audience what they think and kind of get some guidance. We could discuss it together. That would be really nice. What would Jesus do? No. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna drag religion into this. That was silly of me. It's just inner confusion, and it's getting me kind of stuck. So maybe I should talk a little bit about that. The whole feeling of being stuck. I think that's very much an ADHD, anxiety kind of thing, where small things just kind of get you stuck. I'm actually scared to share this with anyone. I haven't even shared it with the people around me, even though I could. I could do little tricks, right? I could share it with my sister, my mom, my other sister. I got a couple. I could share it with my friends, and I actually have a lot of acquaintances. And if I told them, hey, I could use your help, please go to this channel, subscribe to it. You don't have to listen to it, but if you could play a video every now and then, that would be great. And I'm actually pretty sure that a lot of the people I know would do this. And I had this idea in my head that there would be a couple of people among those who read the post, well, not post, but comment on the post on Reddit, who would feel a similar feeling like, yeah, sure, we'll help this guy out. Even if his product isn't good, we still want to support him because he's a part of the tribe. And so there's this channel called How to ADHD. Jessica McCabe is amazing. She really is. And she's actually the type of person to promote just doing things. And she is a part of what inspired me to do this. Well, not really inspired me. It's more so she helped me accept that it was okay for me to do this. She made this cute little song where she sings, do it badly, do it terribly. And, you know, it's about just doing things. And I think that's really important, to just go out there and do things. To, again, as she says, write 3 pages that no one will read. That's basically what I'm doing with this podcast. I'm making a bunch of episodes that no one will listen to. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm doing it in order to get better at it, for one. I'm doing it because it helps me process things. I'm doing it in the hopes that someone else might gain something from it. I have a lot of reasons to do these things. Again, that's actually lyrics from the song. You have so many reasons to do these things, and none of you said you'd do them perfectly. And that's like, yeah, again, this is far from perfect. I wouldn't even call this good. And I have been so self-deprecating throughout this episode, but it's more like a self-realization or a self-acceptance. I'm actually accepting... I'm going to try that again. I'm accepting the fact that I'm just not very good at this. I'm accepting the fact that I can't plan this. I'll probably never have a proper podcast. It'll always just be me ranting. And that's fine. That's okay. There's probably a market for that too somewhere. And that leads us back to the whole thing, right? If I posted a comment there, maybe a couple of people would like it. Maybe someone would gain something from it. Though I would definitely have to explain it in a proper way. I can't just be like, yeah, I have a podcast. I'd have to tell them that it's not meant to be a podcast. You know, I'd have to share that with them. There's a lot of that expression FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Yeah, that's basically what I'm feeling in regards to this. And like I mentioned before, I could probably get quite a few people to watch this. Not necessarily strangers on the internet, but the people around me. Although that is perhaps the most dangerous thing for me to do, because what if I share something here and then, you know, it might be about them. It sometimes is. And if I say C or M or S did this, then they know. I mean, just the fact that I say C, M, and S, well, if they listened to this, they'd know who they were. And, you know, it's not like I'm criticizing people on here. I actually spend a lot of my time talking about how good they did when I do talk about them. Like, M is really kind and thoughtful, and C is trying her best, and Simone, S. I'm gonna have to cut that part. This is gonna be the first time I cut anything in this podcast, but that has to do with the fact that I accidentally just said her full name out loud. Anyway, S is very hardworking. And yeah, so I just messed that up completely. Well, I mean, I went 16 episodes without any editing, and then on the 17th, I just had to, bleep a name, basically. It's gonna be fine. It gives me a little practice cutting it, too. I feel kind of bad about that, because I really do want to keep names out of this. But then again, isn't the mistake a part of the ADHD thing that I didn't really think that far? And is it really that big a deal to mention a name? I mean, it's not like I'm publicly shaming anyone. It's not like I'm doing any harm. I'm gonna have to think about that a lot before I actually upload this episode. But this is, again, it's a part of it. My messing up is a huge part of what it is I want this to be. Whether I end up cutting the name out or not, I want there to be mistakes. I want the sound to be kind of shit. I want you to hear me put down my cup. I don't want this to be a professional podcast, because I'm not a professional podcaster, not a professional sound engineer, not a professional video editor. I'm just a guy sitting in his living room with a microphone. That's all I am, and that's all I want to be. And making mistakes is something that might allow a viewer to think, that's such a stupid mistake. I might do that too. And anyway, again, I don't really have any listeners. Oh, I'm really debating whether or not I should cut that. I am so sorry, you guys. Well, I mean, I'll listen to it before uploading it, at least that quick segment. Just to figure out if it's really that bad or not. This podcast becomes meta surprisingly often. I feel like I should try to avoid that, but at the same time, it's unavoidable, especially in the beginning. Because the podcast is part of what I do, and I want to talk about what it is I do and why I do it, what are my motivations. So, talking about the podcast is a necessity in that regard. And also, it helps to show in the long run how I become better. For example, one thing that I realized that I keep forgetting is to do that whole YouTube shtick. Because you have to do that. The reason you have to do it is that people are actually more likely to like, comment, and subscribe if you ask them to like, comment, and subscribe. but I just keep forgetting to do it. And again, no one's listening anyway. But it is coming to the time where I need to go because it's getting too long. Hopefully tomorrow will be a little more organic. Well, actually maybe a little less organic, because this was me in a panicky state, not really getting to think things through and not knowing what to do. I think the conclusion is that I'll stay in the shadows for a while longer. And maybe once I cross 100 episodes or something like that, I'll put myself out there more. I'll do something. But I'm not ready yet, I think. Especially not with those kinds of mistakes. So, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And it's been a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.